Okay everyone, so in this next lesson, I just want to introduce to you the term project management plan. This is not related to HTML as a markup language. However, I feel the need to already introduce this to you so that you will have initial information that can help you plan your career path in the near future. I believe this is very important as to what the saying goes, that if we fail to prepare, we are prepared to fail. This is the reason I've already done some basic research for some additional reading materials that you might want to look into in terms of project development. I would want to emphasize the importance of planning in terms of web development, especially if you will already be working as a future web developer. May it be you being a freelance developer or an employed developer working with a team. Planning our projects with our team or clients will ensure that good communication is built that will help deliver the necessary deliverables within the desired amount of time. This can involve a number of things, and here's a good article from the website that I have here, vengage.com, and it explained here, or the author explained here, that a project management plan is a formal document that defines how a project is going to be carried out. So it will be outlining the scope, the goals, the budget, the timeline, and deliverables of a project, which will be helping us to keep on track in finishing the project. This is a total beginner's course, and as early as now, I would want you to plan on how you can get a return on investment in this course by starting to plan on how you can get hired or you acquiring a client as a freelancer. I would want you to have initial information that you can draft in terms of conditions that you can have with a client through you developing a plan with your future clients. This can involve you having to discuss with them the scope of the project that they want you to achieve, the budget that they have, and the timeline. Usually, you can talk with your client about the phases of the project development that you can agree on based from the timeline that you have in your project plan. Sometimes you will need to go and consider certain factors in developing the project. So, the idea here, as early as now, I want you to have the initial knowledge that you can use, especially when it comes to using some research materials that you can go and read in advance, so at least you can prepare yourself, you can plan. So this is not a project management plan or agile or scrum course. However, I wanted you to know this information, so as early as now you can go and do some advanced reading about the things that are related to the topics that I have already done here, or I have already done a research about in the tabs that I have here. I would highly recommend that you go read through the references that I have here, so at least you'll have an initial idea about what a project management plan is. And I also actually opened up here research that I've done on how you can go and overcome what we call the imposter syndrome. At some point in time, you might encounter situations that you would tell yourself that you cannot do it. Please don't think that way. I really believe that you can do this, you can improve, you can become a future web developer, and you will be able to land the job that you want in the future. I'm telling you this because I've been there. I know the feeling of self-doubt. My advice would be to really continue and don't stop. The most important part of learning is your desire to improve and progress. A lot of us has been in that situation from where we doubt ourselves because of the information overload. And as a developer or a beginner in the industry, you might encounter this, and in advance, I want to inform you already that we call this situation as the imposter syndrome. I would highly recommend that you go and read about the imposter syndrome. And you would see here that it is defined as a collection of feelings of inadequacy that persist even in face of information that indicates that the opposite is true. It is experienced internally as a chronic self-doubt and feelings of intellectual fraudulence. So once you're encountering this, I would want you to go back to these tips that has been written by the author. So I would suggest that you go and read through it, so at least you'll have an idea on what are the things that you can prepare and do so that you can improve your learning process, and at the same time on how you can go and deal with the imposter syndrome. I would also suggest that you go through some of the things here, such as what is Scrum, and try to download the official Scrum guide. So I'll be downloading this also, and I'm going to include the downloaded file in our reference guide. So if you're not familiar with Scrum, the definition is here that it is used for developing and sustaining complex product. So I won't be discussing this too much, but the main idea here, at least you know the idea. Now, the second step of the Kura acronym that I've taught you will be to understand it, remember it, and then apply what you have learned. So I also have some links here from Synapse about what is a Scrum project plan, some marketing manager's guide to develop a website redesign project plan. So I would suggest that you read through it. I also have here the Scrum software development Wikipedia. And if ever you would want to have a visual representation of your progress in your projects, you can also create a Gantt chart. So I actually opened up these tabs here. So I'm going to leave the links to all of these resources in our reference guide. And lastly, I would really suggest that you go and code 1 hour a day and create a journal of the things that you have accomplished for that specific day. This is going to be a good practice for you so that you can see how much progress you have already achieved in your journey. In my experience, I create a folder from where I go and save most of my text files from where I go and create a journal of learning achievements that I've done for a day. So I would suggest that you also can try to do that. So I actually have here a format. So day 1, date, title of learning activity. So you can create a subfolder. So you can go and say day 1. Date today is August 9. The date that I created this specific lesson, and then you can go and you can try to apply the title of the learning activity that you have achieved for this specific lessons or for the day, for your 1 hour dedicated coding time. So for this example, I wanted to go and Scrum project management plan. So inside of that, I would normally go and open my notepad, and then I will be typing what I have learned for the day. And then I'm going to save that inside of the day 1 folder, and I'm also going to go and put the title of the things that I've learned so that I can use it as a reference. And now I have a reference of the things that I've learned for this day. Another thing that I usually do is to go to Paint and then print screen some of the things that I'm doing during the coding session that I have. And then I'm going to save that in the same folder and have it numbered so that I would see some of the projects that I'm doing if I'm building a website. It serves as my coding diary. Another tip that I want to share to you guys is to have a calendar in front of you and then slash each of the days that you're doing your coding, you're practicing, and you're trying to improve yourself. So at least you would have that habit, the mindset that I need to code a day so that at least you touch the keyboard, be an active learner, and the calendar in front of you or the records of your continuous learning journey. It will be motivating you if it's in front of you and you have a dream board and you're marking the days of you achieving your goal of 1 hour coding per day, and you will tell yourself, hey, I've already accomplished 10 days of not missing even a single day of my 1 hour coding commitment. So you will tell yourself then, I should code 1 hour a day. I should code 1 hour a day. Okay, so that will be all for now, guys. I'm hoping that you got some ideas in this lesson. So thank you and see you on our next lesson.